Hi, here we are again. As you can tell, I've just sort of broken this demonstration, if you like, into sections, just so that you can find the bit you want and you're not faffing about looking through all of it if you don't want all of it. So we've done slip knot and we're on the hook. We've talked about tension. If you haven't seen those, then you can go and look at the individual videos for those. And we've talked about hold, we've talked about types of hook, and we've talked about kit. So now we're ready to make a stitch. Oh, the one thing we haven't talked about is different types of yarn. So I am going to do a video on different types of yarn, but what I'm doing is, what I'd suggest is you start off with quite a big hook. I've got a 6mm here and a chunky yarn, and that it's just easier to see the stitches and to see, that's why I'm using this to demonstrate, because it's easier to see the stitches, it's easier to see what you're doing, and it's less fiddly. So I'd recommend that while you're learning, getting started, use a nice chunky yarn and hook. Don't be fiddling around with little tiny things. Right, so just pick up a cheap ball of chunky yarn from wherever you can get one from. Your local store, second-hand shops often have, charity shops often have baskets with yarn in and stuff. Just grab yourself a ball and a hook and start. Okay, this though, I must say, is gorgeous. It came from Mariners, and Mariners is a great yarn if you company if you're starting out. They have double knit yarn, which I'll explain in another video, which is a yarn you'll see used a lot in crochet for just £1 a ball, and they've got some nice colours. And this super chunky, I think, is only £1.25 for 100 grams, which is really good. I made a rug out of this, which I'm going to do a crochet along and make another one, so I'll show you that. Right, in time. Right, so we're on our hook. We're on the way. We're going places. This is what we call your straggler. So this is staying over here. This is your hook. You work on this part of your hook generally, and you hold around the middle. And this is your yarn. As I've said before, have some yarn pulled off the ball, not cut off, just pulled off loose to make everything easier. And we know how we're holding our yarn. We've got our tension sorted out, and we're holding it however suits us, however we can manage to get going, we're doing that. So our first stitch, this is how to make a chain. Now the chain is the foundation of so many crochet projects, and while we're making a chain, I can show you the anatomy of the stitch, which will be quite useful. So to make the chain, we hold on to our slip knot here, keep the straggler out of the way, and we just, to zoom in a bit, and what we do is we just hook our hook under our yarn, twist the hook so it holds onto the yarn, and we just pull it through that loop. And then what I do anyway is I turn it back around and get comfortable. And then I go in for another one. I just hook it, twist it, and pull it through. I'm holding this a little bit tight. Sorry about that. I've got my tension a bit tight. So hook it, twist it, pull it through. Hook it, twist it, and pull it through. Okay. Hook it, twist it, pull it through. Hook it, twist it, pull it through. Hook it, twist it, and pull it through. And essentially what we're doing is we're creating a series of knots which are all linked together. So I'm just going to start again because I struggled, but I want you to see where things can go wrong, because that's important for you to see that everybody makes mistakes. So I'm going to keep it a bit looser this time. So we're on the hook. We've got our tension sorted, our stragglers out of the way, we're holding it nice and comfortable, and we hook it, twist it and pull it through. Hook the yarn, twist it and pull it through. So we've got a loop on the hook, we hook the yarn, twist it and pull it through. Then we're ready to go for another one. Always having one hook on the yarn, one loop on the hook. Get my words right in a minute. And the reason I twist is, as you can see, it just holds on to the yarn better and makes pulling it through easier. If I didn't twist, then I'm gonna hook onto the loop that's on my hook and it's not going to go anywhere. So hook, twist and pull through. Now you can't, if I was to try and hook with my hook that way, it's not going to get hold of anything. So the twist action is important. It's not just dramatic, it's not just trying to be sexy or anything. It is important. So hook, twist and pull through. Hook, twist and pull through. Don't pull too tight on this, on your work. This is what becomes now known as your work. Don't pull too tight because you won't be able to get your hook through the loop. And you want your hook to pull smoothly through that loop. Okay? Now we can look at the anatomy of the stitch a little bit. If you want to take your hook out for any reason, give yourself a good loop so you know where to go back in, and when you go back in you just put it back in, pull, not your work, pull the yarn and you're back to where you were, and then you can just carry on. So when we look at a crochet stitch, I'm going to just pull this out and just use my hook to point things out. From what is termed the front of our work, you see we have our straggler here at the bottom. That's our spare piece of yarn, and we'll sew that in. We either sew that in as we go along or we sew it in at the end, and this is why we need a yarn needle. And then we have what is called our work, and that is the actual crochet that we're doing, that we've done. And this is the front of our work. Now at the front of our work you can see the stitch is almost like a V shape. You see that? So we've got that part here and that part here. So if we were counting stitches, that's 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? You can see if you would count the sort of crossover, the intersection, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a stitch. This is a stitch. Now if we turn it to the back, it looks a little bit different. We've got kind of a ridge that's a part of this stitch. So our stitch comes in 3 pieces. It has the front 2 loops, this loop and this loop. Okay, so they're part of that stitch. That's that loop and that loop. And then it has a 3rd part, which is a ridge on the back. Okay, so there's 3 parts to the stitch. Sometimes you'll make things and it'll say stitch in the front loop only, or the back loop only, or the back of the stitch. So this, when we're looking at our work, this is our front loop. Okay, so imagine that's your work laid out and you're going to stitch only into the front loop. This is the front loop and this is the back loop. Okay, and that's what these parts of the stitch are known as: front loop and back loop, front loop and back loop. Sometimes people get a bit confused and think, oh, that's the back loop. That's not the back loop, that's the back, what I call the back ridge, the back of the stitch. So front loop, back loop. So if you're just imagining that V shape, the bottom of the V shape is your front loop and the top is the back loop. And that's the anatomy of a stitch, basically. And that's what you're creating, these lovely stitches. So now you know how to chain. Go ahead and chain away. Chain, 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 chain. And the thing is, chains in themselves are quite useful. I make a lot of chains to use as trim for things, and just a long chain. And what you do is you just stitch this back into the chain with a needle. It makes good trim. It's great for hanging bunting and things like that. So yeah, you just being able to make a chain, you can actually make something. You can make a bracelet. You could stick some beads on. It's quite nice. So don't think that just being able to chain only is pointless, because it's not. But it is the foundation, it's the beginning, and you really need to get to grips with how to do it. So let me just give you one last little go before I leave, but obviously you can rewind this. So it's just grab the yarn, twist, pull through. Grab the yarn, twist and pull through. And if you do so over the back of your finger, if you saw the video on hold, then it's exactly the same. You just grab your yarn and pull through. But you are going to have tension problems sewing like that. Okay, so I hope you found this useful, and next we're going to do starting off a project with a circle. We're going to use the magic circle. There's 3 different ways to start in a circle, and I'm going to show you all 3 in the next video. Okay, thanks for watching and see you soon.